All right, I am officially live on Facebook.
Okay.
So we're just going to give it a few moments here, just waiting on my guest, Medjie. We're going to try this again. We have had, on my end, some technical difficulties. However, I do believe this is going to work now. This is going to be very, very great. We're continuing the conversation about sickle cell awareness. If you don't know, I haven't already said it, it is National Sickle Cell Awareness Month. Something that's near and dear to my heart. Won't give my backstory on how and why it's near and dear to my heart. Just know that it is. Anything that affects my people is always going to be near and dear to my heart. It's near and dear to my heart. Just know that it is. Anything that affects my people is always going to be near and dear to my heart. So today I will be bringing a good dear friend of mine, Medjie, on. She actually has sickle cell, but I'll let her tell her story because it's definitely her story. I do just want to say that she is currently in school studying to be a doctor. Right now, she is just a student physician. And so we do just want to give the disclaimer that I'm not medically acclaimed to give advice. She wants to make it clear that although she is just a student physician right now, she doesn't feel she's medically acclaimed to give advice as well. However, we say this to say is please don't sue us. We're just here to help, here to spread the word, help give knowledge and information about sickle cell and what it is and what it could be, how to live with it, how to grow with it, just how to obtain some things. So let me check in with her here real quickly to see if she's on. Were you able to get on?
No.
No? Are you trying to do it from the laptop or your phone? Because you may have to do it from your phone. So we may have to hang up so you can do it from your phone.
Okay.
Because it don't even say you on here. My cousin is on here watching. Hi, Tiara. Just a little bit about Tiara. I hope she don't. I be telling all her business anyway, sometimes on my podcast. Between her and my best friend, Chris, oh boy, they get it. They get it bad on my podcast. Not in a bad way, but they just who I know and the examples that I have to use. But Tiara recently, or a year ago at this point, gave well, you can hear her because she on my phone. That's why you can hear her. But we want to get her on the live. So we want to be able to invite her in as the welcome guest to another live episode of That's It, That's All podcast. Oh, there she go. There she go. Here she go. There she go. I see you. Hold on. I'm coming to get you. There we go. There we go. So Tiara may join us as well. Tiara actually has a form of sickle cell as well. When giving birth to my godson, Jimmy the third, I'm going to say now, she had some things that she had to go through just to ensure her pregnancy. So maybe once Medjie jumps on, we can definitely just talk about maybe, because Medjie is a mother, Medjie is a wife, Medjie is a sister, Medjie is a cousin. Okay, here, I'm going to hang up the phone. You got it? We good over here?
Yeah.
You look so beautiful.
Thank you, girl.
All right. There we go. Hi, welcome.
Hi, Lena.
How are you?
I'm doing good.
So I know I had said this prior to when we were first trying to get on. We may be keeping this episode a little short and a little sweet because actively right now you are having an episode, correct?
Yeah, I've been having this crisis for the last few days. So I've taken all my pain meds, but the pain keeps coming back. I'm at the point where I want to probably go to the ER and have them, assess me because the pain is not going away.
So what does
Yeah.
a episode, for those of us that don't know, right? What can you describe in the best of your abilities? Now, I'm not the ER, and I know you not the ER, and I know one thing that sickle cell patients have the issue with is when they do go to the ER, they don't assume that your pain level is what your pain level is. So for those of us who don't know or want to know, can you describe what it feels like for you right now in this moment?
Like the pain in general?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's still hard for me to describe what it feels like, but I just I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, you know? Like it's like it's so painful that it's very debilitating. It's to the point where sometimes I have to like curl up in a fetal position like I'm a child, or it's been to the point where my husband had to like literally carry me out of the bedroom into the car because I could not walk. Like my bones were hurting, and it's just like it takes every ounce of your body, of your cells, and it just like messes with it. You know, I can't even just, not like a headache, it's not like a stomach ache. It's not like it's a like, you know, when we're on our menstrual cycle, we have like our menstrual pain. It's not any of that. It's just like, just imagine something that's debilitating, and it just like chokes you up, you know, like it just grabs you up, like where you got to get the meds right away. If not, it's just going to keep getting worse and worse.
So
So I hope
compared to what you
mhm.
take at home,
So what do I take
what
at
is,
home?
well, I don't, that ain't none of our business what you take at home, because if you've already exhausted what you take at home, when you go, do they give you Dilaudid, like or do they give you morphine or?
Yeah. Yeah. So I used to take morphine when I was a little bit younger, but now I take Dilaudid when I go to the emergency room. I have Dilaudid here at home, but since I've had my baby, I just, now I can't take it no more. So like it makes me nauseous now. But prior to me having my second child, I didn't had no issues with Dilaudid. But when I go to the ER, um okay. I mean, so like because of this opioid crisis, right? They have this so-called policy where you can only get a certain amount of Dilaudid at one time. Before that, they used to just give you the medication without any stipulation or without any pushback. It's okay if you're in pain, here is what we're gonna give you to alleviate the pain. Now they'll do something like, okay, well, we'll give you the pill Dilaudid, right? But it's like, no, that's not gonna work because that's what I've been taking for the last 8 to 10 hours. It's not working. I need something in the IV, you know? And so what happens is that because I know what to say, whereas you know, if I go, I say, listen, I've already taken the pain meds at home. I don't need any more pill meds. Just give me it through my IV, you know? And so they'll give it to me, but it's only like a small amount of the Dilaudid. It's not even an amount that's going to take the pain away. It only literally just takes the edge off because of this opioid crisis. And then another thing that sickle cell patients deal with is like they don't believe that when we're in pain, like we're actually in pain. Like I've had doctors tell me to my face, like, "Oh, you're drug seeking," or, you know, you have morphine in your system and you want more of it. Yeah, I have it in my system because I've been taking it. I have a chronic pain condition, you know, so it's like it's a bad situation overall. And I just hope that it gets better because the way that it is now, it's not helping sickle cell patients at all.
So as a student physician, um, what change would you like to see in the medical field when it comes to actively treating someone who has, because you have sickle cell SS, correct?
Yes.
How would you like to see patients with sickle cell, any form or variation of sickle cell, be treated when it comes to actually going to the hospital and seeking this treatment? Because at this point, it seems like it's discrimination a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. I would like it to be, whereas like we come in, we say that we're in pain, and just get us back to get us back there as soon as possible. Don't be lingering on and, like, oh, well, let me check this, let me check. Yes, that's all very important to check. I understand, because I get why they do that, because I'm getting betrayed the same exact way. I get why they do that. But I would like for us to just get back to the back of the ER and as quickly as possible give us our IV like fluids, right? And then give us the medicine. Like I remember when I was pregnant, they have a specific section of the hospital for pregnant women only. So why is it that we can't have something specifically for sickle cell patients, like or for a psych patient? They have a psych ward. For
But
cancer patients, they have.
they have a cancer ward too, right?
What's that?
And they have a cancer ward too, correct?
They have a cancer ward, right? Exactly. And so for sickle cell patients, there's nothing in place. And I just feel like there needs to be something in place for us. And if they can just start by, getting us back there in less than 30 minutes, that will help a lot, because what they don't know or realize is that a crisis can kill you. Like, it's not just like, oh, I have a crisis. Like, it can kill you. Like, I've heard and seen people die from having a crisis. So,
Well, I I believe that that may be part of the reason my ex, or I don't know whether to call him an ex or what, but fiance, whatever you want him to be, he has sickle cell S, and they found him when he passed away. I think he passed away at like maybe 35. Yeah, I want to say he was maybe 35 when he lost his battle. But they found him in the hospital, in the bathroom, unresponsive.
okay.
And I know that going through the like everything with him, like even just having to go through to the hospital with him in it, I think what it used to make me mad, because they'll be like, oh, well, from what it looks like, you just got your prescription of your new meds. But it was just like, he's in pain. And I think what used to very much irritate with me is because he actually had a port, and they were forever changing the port, or where they had the port, because everywhere they would put the port, it would become affected. Like it never, nowhere on him was strong enough to carry the port, to where we actually started looking into research about getting him like a cow's vein, just to be able to support where his port would go, for him to be able to even be able to access the medicine. Now, I don't know at what age that they found out directly about his sickle cell, but did your parents find out about your sickle cell as soon as you were born, or like when did you actually become sickly as a child, or how did you become to learn of you even having sickle cell anemia?
Yeah, so I was born in Haiti. I'm not from here, but so my mom told me when I was about 1 years old or so, or 9 months to 1 years old, she said that I would just always just cry. And she said she would feed me, bathe me, just do anything a mother would do to comfort their crying child. And she said she just cannot understand what was it that would make me cry, because I was fed, I was bathed, and I guess it wasn't until she said my legs and my arms became really swollen, like they were really swole. And so she took me, and she could not get it down. And so she took me to the hospital, and she told them, like, okay, my baby's legs are swollen, like, fix it, basically. But they had no idea that I had sickle cell. And so she said I spent maybe about a week or so in the hospital while these doctors were trying to figure out, like, what's wrong with this baby. And when they finally figured it out, she said I was about 1 year old. And even then they still didn't know like what to do and what to give me, because I was in Haiti, you know. Whereas here in America, they have newborn screening. They screen the mothers before, you know, the child is born. So yeah, so she told me that when I was one, and then, but I don't really remember from like 1 to 8, like if I had pain or any of that, because you know I was young. But I remember coming here to the United States at 8 years old, and I went to the hospital. Just, you know, I had a doctor, and the doctor sat me and my mom down and literally like educated us on what sickle cell was. And she would say, okay, well, you know, she had like these little dice that had the disease on there, like basically like probabilities, or if I were to get with somebody who had sickle cell, what would be the outcome of my children, right? And so I'm 8 years old. I'm like, huh? What are you talking about getting married or having kids? I'm like, what is this lady talking about? But she put that in my head, so I already knew like I could not have kids with anybody who wasn't normal. So after that appointment, and then she said a lot of things, you know, like to drink water, stay hydrated, and things of that nature. But she was very like direct and was very passionate about educating mothers with about their kids. And so I knew that this was something very serious, you know. But it wasn't until like I want to say maybe high school, I wanted to like play basketball and just do regular things that a high schooler would do, and I couldn't play long like my class, like my teammates. Like I would have to literally sit out because I was just out of breath or just tired, you know. So like over time, as I gotten older, I realized this is something that needs my attention, and I'm gonna have this for the rest of my life. Um, so like that's kind of like how I was able to figure out, you know, what I had.
So, is there any statistics for people that live in Haiti, like from then till now? Because what are you about, like 30, 30 something now?
Yes, Elena.
I'm 35. I'll say it. I'm 35. So, with me being 35, and the reason why I'm having this conversation is because I recently had a conversation with another person in their 30s, and they just was like, I'm not that well vast to have a conversation with you about sickle cell because I don't know anything about it. And I'm speaking to someone who looks
Um,
like me. It's a Black woman who's actually pregnant. You know what I'm saying? And so now I'm like, probably in her business, like, so before you got pregnant, did you speak with your mate about sickle cell? And she was like, no. And I'm just like, no, I'm all concerned for her, but it's not my baby, it's her baby.
yeah,
But I'm
yeah,
concerned because you're a Black woman who is now having a baby with another Black person, and you have no clue of whether you or him either have the trait or even just have sickle cell in itself. So the reason
yeah,
why I act your age is not to put you on blast or anything like that, but it's literally people in our age class that have no clue of what
yeah,
sickle
yeah,
cell is.
yeah, and that's what um I don't know. I just think that is not. I just think that people just aren't aware of.
So she'll be back here soon. We'll continue the conversation here as soon as she does rejoin. But for those that are still watching until she actually jumps back on, it looks like she did just jump back on. So let me go ahead and try to get that request back out to her. One moment here. Um, And I do want to just say thank you so much to all of the people who are viewing right now. I do actively have the chat going. Anybody that also wants to jump on, we can definitely bring them on. All right, I'm adding you back to it here.
I don't know what happened.
It's the joys. You know what I call it is I'm a conspiracy, like I believe in conspiracies. So I think that any time that you have two Black people that are having an intellect conversation about something that directly affects us as Black people, the government be like, let's shut one down. Because I swear the last time that I did this with Clifton and Lars Sade, like soon as Sade got to dropping like real knowledgeable things in regards to sickle cell, her whole signal would just go out as
Oh,
if
wow. Wow.
and I'm talking about it would be clear as day up until soon as she got to giving some factuals and different things, it would be like a whole digital ties. Like she would just go digital. And I don't think that it had anything to do with her signal. Like I feel like her internet and everything probably worked perfectly all day. And it had
Yeah.
to because she was doing homework. Like I'm talking to her throughout the day about her doing homework and different things. And I know for a fact she was using her homework, like using her
Mm-hmm.
internet to do her homework. No problems until it was time for her to get on a platform and discuss the awareness of sickle cell anemia.
Yeah. That's wild.
Crazy, right?
Crazy.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
So do you think that as far as because Hades is more so of a country that is predominantly people of African descent, maybe mixed in a little bit with some Spaniards because of slavery and different things like that. Do you think? Do you know any of the statistics right now of sickle cell and it affects too?
Sorry about that.
No, you listen. We for the babies over here now. Babies are all welcome on. Like I'm telling you, my cousin Tiara come on here right now because she just went through a pregnancy where she found out that her and her mate both have a particular, and I can't say it. That's a something. They have
Oh,
a.
beta thalassemia.
Yep. See, yep.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they both have a trait, and that was a concern with her pregnancy. But she spent her whole pregnancy basically getting blood transfusions to where
Yeah.
unfortunately, she was not even able to, because she's a nurse, and
Okay.
she wasn't even able to work because of the
Yeah.
blood transfusions.
Yeah. I had to do that too.
But I know, and do you? I mean, I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but you said your new baby is 9 months,
Yeah.
and you've been in the hospital a lot since having the new baby, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Since I've had them, I've been in the hospital a lot more than what I'm used to. And I mean, I think it's because one, I'm older, and two, I mean, any woman who decides to have a baby, like, we're taking a risk on our bodies. It's a stressful event just to have a baby in general, whether you with no disease, no chronic illness, you know what I mean? And so to have a baby with a chronic illness is like it's high risk. And so I believe that's why I've been having more crises since I've had them because I was pregnant, and that took a toll on my body.
So, was your first pregnancy because you have two babies, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So did you experience the same thing at the same rate that or was that pregnancy just a little easier?
Oh no, it wasn't easy either. I had crises with the first one, but it wasn't to this magnitude. Like this one was really bad. Like I remember I was in the hospital, I don't know, maybe like 6 weeks after giving birth, after he was here, and I'm in the hospital trying to pump. I have milk in my boobs, and then they're giving me Dilaudid, and they're like, "Oh, the baby can't have that milk." Well, what do you want me to do? It's got to go somewhere. Like
Well, it
my
does.
my boobs are filled with milk. It's got to go somewhere. So I'm literally trying to pump this milk out, but I'm in crises. So one of the reasons why I eventually stopped nursing was because of that. Like I couldn't keep up with nursing because I was in the hospital.
So do you think that Okay, so before I go to that question, at any point during either one of your pregnancies, did they ever speak to you about possibly terminating the pregnancies just for your own health and safety? Like, I
No,
don't know. So I'm asking. And so I'm just asking because I don't know how these
yeah,
conversations go.
yeah, no, they didn't do that with me, but they did that to my mom because my mom was pregnant again because I have a brother, so she was pregnant for the third time after having my brother, and then they were like, "You probably want to terminate this baby," and so she ended up did terminate the baby. So I would have had two siblings, you know, but I think here in the U.S., I don't think they do that. Um, don't quote me. There are
Well, no,
probably
because we
some.
already gave the disclaimer that you are a student physician and no one should attempt to take medical advice. And that's probably how I should have gave the disclaimer from this conversation. This is strictly an awareness conversation
Yeah,
for people who look like us that may be in your shoes and maybe just don't have the confidence enough to
yeah,
have this conversation or
right,
even just be like, I'm going through this, because
yeah,
sometimes we feel alone in certain things. And I think as
mhm,
people, just as people, we have been isolated to be like, oh, it's only me going through this. So the mental things we put ourselves through when we are going through something, especially medically, because in our community, unfortunately, part of our generational trauma is what happens in this house stays in this house. And unfortunately, medical goes right along with that. So
yeah,
we don't talk about grandma's diabetes and we don't talk about granddaddy's hypertension or we don't talk about Uncle Joe's alcoholism or we don't talk about different things that slowly can affect us that can move generation from generation to
right,
generation. And I think
exactly, yeah,
sickle cell is definitely one of those things that definitely falls into that category of being swept under the rug and
yeah,
not
it is.
talked about.
Yeah. So I don't think they encourage termination. I mean, I don't know, but I do know before conceiving, they do warn us and say, okay, you probably should not have a baby because you have sickle cell. I've always thought that. I always thought that, I'm probably not ever gonna have kids because I have sickle cell disease. And, like it's just what is kind of like, you know, okay, how can it's not like encouraged, but it will definitely come up, in a subtle type of way.
So when it came time for you and your mate to fall in love and everything, when did the sickle cell conversation happen for you and your mate?
Um, okay, I think I want to say I told him like right away that I had sickle cell, but a lot of African Americans don't know what sickle cell is. So he didn't realize the magnitude of what the disease was until I remember I had a crisis. And, we were boyfriend and girlfriend or whatever, and I was in the night, you know, and I had a crisis and I woke him up, I said, please take me down to the hospital, like right now. And the pain was so bad. I didn't have my meds on me or nothing like that. So I needed to get to the ER as quickly as possible. I said, I'm gonna need you to like these red lights and get me down to Harper. And so that's exactly what he did. But he didn't know like the ins and outs of what a crisis is and all of that. And I think once he saw like how much pain I was in, um, that's kind of like what woke him up. Like, oh, this is really serious, because he's never seen me in that space. And then I think we were together, and maybe about like 6 months after that, it wasn't even a year when we were dating. 6 months after that, I had another crisis, and I ended up being in the hospital for an entire month. And I was in
Mm-hmm.
the ICU. I was, unconscious. I wasn't aware of anything. And when I finally woke up, I told him, I said, I said, you know, you don't have to be here. I was like, I'm giving you the permission to walk away from this situation right now. And I won't be upset. I said, because this is what sickle cell is. Like, it's unpredictable. I could be good today and then I could be bad tomorrow. And so I gave him that choice to just leave, you know, because that's tough. You know what I mean? To deal with that. Like, and then he's my spouse, you know what I mean? And he chose to ended up staying with me. Um, you know, it's been a blessing that we ended up, you know, falling in love and stuff. But I think it's definitely tough on the caregivers, and especially on like on the spouses and the parent, you know, because you're dealing with you're taking care of somebody with a long life chronic condition.
So before your marriage or when you decided to have kids, when did the testing come in for him? Like, so does he have a trait or he doesn't?
No, he doesn't have it. I remember telling him, I said, look, you're gonna have to get tested. But we were just like, boy, we weren't even engaged or nothing. But I kind of knew that he was gonna be my husband. You know, like I could see like long term, and I was like, you should probably get tested. And if it comes back, you have the trait, we probably won't have kids. And so that's kind of like how that happened. Then he went and got tested, and it came back that he was just normal. He doesn't have the trait at all.
Why do you keep saying normal? Like, why? What makes you not normal? Like, I'm sorry, I just because you keep saying it and I don't know why. Like, it's a trigger for me because
Okay.
you're one of the most normal people that I know. So why do you keep saying that? Why do you keep saying no? And I just say that because I have friends from elementary school. I have friends from middle school. I have friends from high school. And I'm going to get to that question. Was she here when she gave birth?
Yeah, in Detroit.
Yes. Yes. Um, yeah, she was here in America when she gave birth. So she was born. So we're going to go back a little bit. She was born in Haiti. And then
Mm-hmm.
she came to the United States when she was about, sorry, it's your story. I don't want to.
It's okay. I was 8 years old.
She was 8 years old when she officially came to America, but
Yeah.
she was sickly as a child. But of course, as you know, in countries where it is predominantly Black people, the medical care may take a lacking only because sometimes they have to come here to get the education in order to go back to their countries to be able to give the medical experience that we received here. But then there's, and this is just me speaking off my own research, so if I'm wrong, Medjie, you can stop me. There's still always going to be a lack of resources in those predominantly Black countries where things like sickle cell is very much probably running rapid in those countries, among other things. But I can guarantee you, in places where it is predominantly Black, that sickle cell, the rate of sickle cell versus the 90% that it is here in America, I can guarantee you that it's probably 110% or more in those countries. But because lack thereof resources,
Mm-hmm.
because of lack of those resources, our people are going to perish at a high mortality rate than they will here in America. See, it's great to get here to America, right? Sorry, I'm going to take a minute to rant about this. It's great for us to get here, right? It's the land of the
Yeah,
free and all of this other things. But medically, we are still hindered as people medically, not only just when it comes to sickle cell, but when it just comes to us giving birth or just in history receiving the proper medical treatment that we deserve because we are just humans. And it shouldn't even have anything to do with the color of our skins. But unfortunately, the world that we live in doesn't see it that way because they just don't. I think that the only reason why certain things have, more about it is because it's something that affects everyone. So when I say things like diabetes, they take that serious because it affects everyone. I can have it. someone else who doesn't look like me, like an Asian person, can have diabetes. Actually, more Asian people are prone to have diabetes or hypertension because they eat a high thing of rice. But they'll never tell us that because they always want to make it just seem like it's something that solely affects Black people. But
Yeah.
diabetes is really people of Asian descent because of the way that the foods that they choose to eat. But they'll never tell us that because the less we know, the more we won't care, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sorry, but yeah, she was here in America when she did give birth to both of her sons. And she was here in America when she was initially diagnosed with sickle cell
No, I
anemia.
was in
Now,
Haiti.
you were a baby.
Yeah, I was a baby.
So in
But
Haiti, they were.
yeah, they diagnosed me in Haiti, but it wasn't until I came here when I was 8 years old. That's when I started getting like treatments for it. I went to Children's Hospital. They have a sickle cell clinic there, and for peds. And so I was there, and that's when I started to get my treatments, and I started to get acclimated in the sickle cell disease community.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How are you feeling? Because again, I know you already said that you've been pushing through this whole week. So I just want to make sure, are you okay to continue or?
We can continue because I actually like talking about this because I think it needs to get out.
So does either one of your sons, because I know now they do it as a thing of, so I think Laura Charday, when I had her on, I believe she said that now it's since June of 1987, it's been mandated that all children be tested for it. So does
Yeah.
any one of your sons have the trait or anything?
Yeah, they do have the trait because my husband is normal. I don't like normal, but he doesn't have any sickle cell genes in his blood. But because of genetics, because I have sickle cell genes in my blood, when you put those two together, the kids they're gonna carry the gene. Does that make sense? I know it's kind of like sciencey,
Yeah,
but
no,
so
it clarifies some things.
like my sons both have the trait. Like for example, my parents both had the trait. So then when they gave birth to me, my brother, 25% of the kids can get the disease, and then I think 50% cannot get the disease or will get the trait. So that's why my brother don't have it, but I
So your
do.
brother does not have the trait. Does he have the trait, or
Yeah,
he just
he has
has the
the
trait?
trait. Yeah, he
Okay.
has the trait.
So
Yeah,
is
so
your brother?
50% of them. Hmm?
So does anyone else in your family, like of your mom or dad's side, have sickle cell anemia as well, or just?
No, just me.
So what did elementary school look like for you?
Oh, I think seemed pretty normal. I don't remember a lot, unfortunately. So, but that's because of a whole nother thing that I had went through. I had experienced a traumatic event when I was 8 years old. That's why we came to the States. So I think since I've experienced that, like my brain just forgets things. So I don't really remember like specific details of when I was younger, but from what I could remember just vaguely, like I think it was fine. I don't remember getting sick when I was younger. Like I went to to school regularly. Like I didn't have any attendance issues. It wasn't until I got to college that's when I started to have my issues.
So as women, we have this thing called our menstrual cycle, right?
Mhm.
Do you think that when you started your menstrual cycle that it was harder with your sickle cell anemia? Because now you're
No,
no? Okay. I just
no,
have questions.
I
I
know, and yeah, and it's okay. Like some women do though, but for me, like I've never had any I don't get menstrual pain. Like
Hold up.
I don't know what cramping feels like.
Oh, bless your heart.
But I think God was like, you know what? She dealing with
You going
this.
through enough.
We don't need to give her no more than nothing else. But I know other women who have menstrual pain and it triggers their crises.
So with either one of your pregnancies, did you have to get blood transfusions as well?
Yeah, I got them for both because my first son Noah, he's 4 years old. They found out that he wasn't getting enough blood through the placenta, and so he was really small and really tiny, and the blood wasn't really getting to his organs. So they were like, well, if we got to put you on transfusions if both of you guys want to stay alive. So once I started the transfusions, I mean, I was still a high risk. It was still a high risk pregnancy, but once I started the transfusion, it literally like saved both of our lives initially. And so with the second baby, it was just like a no brainer. Like you're just gonna start transfusions right away.
Okay.
Hmm.
So, so with the second baby, you had a better plan in store for your second pregnancy.
Yeah,
You knew a little bit
yeah,
more what to expect
right. And I started the transfusions right away.
right
Whereas
away.
with Noah, like I think I started it maybe about I was like 5 months or so. Whereas
Hmm.
with Asher, I started it like 4 weeks out, because we already knew like what happened from the first. So
Okay. So when did they diagnose you with SS though? Like how did they know you had SS sickle cell?
they diagnosed me when I came to Children's Hospital um, at 8 years old. That's when they diagnosed me. I think they did some blood tests, and then that's because of the disease. Like they have these educational sessions where they talk to the parent
Hmm.
and said, "This is what your child has. Here's how we're going to treat it. XYZ." And so I believe that's when I was told that I had SS because I remember my mom used to carry like this card that's kind of like stated what I had. And I remember carrying that for a while too, but I don't know what happened to it.
Okay. So I know that they say a lot of patients or a lot of people who have sickle cell eventually lose their spleen. Do you still have your spleen?
I still have my spleen, but it's no longer functioning. But they're not gonna take it out. I'm not gonna have surgery to get it out. It just doesn't function. But it stopped functioning when I was in like high school.
And then at any time during your pregnancy, did you have preeclampsia?
No, thank God. I did not have preeclampsia. No.
And then have you ever had pneumonia?
Yeah, I've had pneumonia. I've had pneumonia like four times, something like that. It's really common for sickle cell patients to get pneumonia.
Do you suggest vaccinations for anyone who has sickle cell?
What type of vaccinations?
So like the flu vaccinate. Well, see, I don't know because I don't. And again, this is just, and we can make this a whole nother podcast, just the importance of vaccinations, because
Yeah.
I've always been taught that vaccinations were not a good thing for people of color. So, of course, when it came time for me to get the COVID vaccine, I just was like, I won't have a job because I'm not getting it. uh, I've
No, I
never
feel
had
you.
the flu vaccine. When I was old enough to know some things for myself, just based off of medical history that I learned about my dad's mom and stuff like that, I chose to get the HPV vaccine, just because something that I learned about just the women on my dad's side of the family is that cervical or ovarian cancer runs rapid. I know one of my cousins on my mom's side, on the dad's side, like my grandfather's niece, or one of my cousins, I know she had breast cancer, but I've never really heard of anybody else in my family having breast cancer. I know my dad had like prostate cancer, and I want to say just probably due to overuse of drugs, he ended up with pancreas cancer because his body could no longer function or wasn't processing the whatever the chemical that he produced in his own body to move. So then himself probably caused himself to have pancreas cancer. But I just know that my mom wasn't for vaccine, supposedly wasn't for vaccine. So I was one of those kids, I guess you could say I was one of those unnormal kids who had to get a waiver signed in order to go to school because, you know, she didn't have us vaccinated.
Right. So I'm vaccinated. Like my mom vaccinated me with everything, but when I got older, I stopped getting the flu vaccine because I just felt like it didn't really do nothing. Like I could, so I don't know, I'm pretty biased about this topic, but I didn't get the flu vaccine for a while, and I get it now because I have to get it with me
Because you're
being
going
in
to be a
school.
doctor.
Yeah, I have to get it. So I get it now, but I just feel like just, as a parent, you just have to kind of like be at your own discretion. I'm not going to tell nobody not to get vaccinated. I'm not going to tell nobody to get vaccinated. I feel like you have to leave it up to the person, leave it up to their choice. I recently, if I can be totally transparent, I did not get the COVID vaccine, and I was not planning on ever getting it. But there's a new vaccine out. It's called the Novavax. It's not the Moderna or the Pfizer, right? So I did literally got that yesterday. So I'm like, I just got my COVID vaccine yesterday. And the Novavax is a lot different. It's made differently from the Moderna or the Pfizer. It's not made with the reverse transcriptase and the mRNA. It's made like how a traditional vaccine is supposed to be made. And so that's why I waited to get vaccinated because, I'm just very cautious when it comes to that. So
I thank you for your transparency. I appreciate it. Now, no means is this to bully anybody into doing anything. This is
right.
solely her episode of the podcast. And again, this is to encourage those who may be dealing with sickle cell in silence.
Yeah. I think a lot of us deal with it in silence. I'm pretty sure 85% of us deal with it in silence because even for me, like sometimes I don't want to share that I have sickle cell. I don't want people to look at me differently. I don't want people to judge me. I don't want people to say, "Oh, she's using it as as a a crutch." I want to just be known just because I'm Medjie, not she has sickle cell. So I understand that, and I can relate to a sickle cell patient who feels very uncomfortable with sharing that to the world because you are going to get judged. Like people are going to think whatever they want to think about it. And so I do think that a lot of us suffer in silence with it. But the pain is so bad is like, one, you're embarrassed that you're even having this type of pain, that you have to literally be begging for pain meds. And then to not get it, that's a whole nother story. So I just think that overall is just something that I think some people are just ashamed of.
So, what type of medicine are you practicing right now currently?
Well, I'm not practicing right now. I'm
Well,
still
I'm
a
sorry, not practicing. Let me
student.
step back. What are you studying? I'm sorry. Let me, please, yes, please correct me. What are you studying right now?
No, it's okay. So right now I'm just doing like basic foundations. It's basically like, so I'm a med school, right? So that we have like 4 years of our track. So like the first 2 years is basically like the book work, just getting the foundation of what the sciences are behind the diseases and such, like the biochemistries, like the genetics, the pathologies and stuff like that. And then I won't go into clinic until my third year. So right now I'm just doing like book work, but I do have an interest in psychiatry. I mean that could also change, but right now I am really interested in pursuing psychiatry just because, especially treating people with sickle cell disease, because I know that a lot of us have mental health conditions related to having sickle cell, because being in pain for your entire life, like, can cause depression, it can cause anxiety, it can cause all sorts of things because you're not supposed to be in pain like that. Our bodies are not meant to just have to deal with so much pain. And so I think over time it causes some type of mental disorder. So
Do you think that having a good support system as far as family and friends helps you just a little bit, a lot, or like what's your experience mentally over the years when just having to deal with
yeah.
your
So I think having a support system is beneficial to somebody's mental health. I know for me, like, and the reason why I even chose psychiatry was because, like, for a long time I was like, oh, I'm gonna be a hematologist, which is, a blood doctor, right? Like, I want to treat sickle cell patients. But it wasn't until maybe about, and I've never shared this online, so I mean, whatever, it is what it is. But in 2015, I um had gotten married, right? And I went to my honeymoon, and then as soon as we got back, I had a crisis, and I ended up being in the hospital for an entire month. And so, when you first get married, you're so happy. You just, oh, I'm gonna be a wife and I'm gonna do this, So you just, so it's like an exciting moment, right? But because for me it wasn't that way. Like, I literally was in the hospital for an entire month, and then when I got out of the hospital, I was at home. I couldn't really do much. I still was recovering, even though, like, we may have um an episode where we're discharged from the hospital. It doesn't mean like we're still not in pain. It just means we could just function at home, So, but when I got home, I was still having like pain, and I was taking my pain meds, and I think it just made me just sad because of how much the pain just was like taking over my body, and I couldn't really do much. I had to rely on my husband to like cook and things that I'm supposed to be doing as a wife, and so I
says
think
who now?
that
Wait a minute, that's gonna be another episode now. Cause says who now?
right,
That's your husband. He supposed to provide for you, not providing for you was those things. I think
yeah,
that felt right.
yeah, for sure. But anyway, I fell into like this depression. Like, I was sad, and I was just like, man, like, I just couldn't get out of it. I just felt like, I just was like just sad because just dealing with this pain, I can't really do much. And so, but eventually I came out of it, with the help of my husband, and then just um I just snapped out of it. Like, I don't really know, like, specifically like what happened. Like, I'm a believer. Like, I prayed, and I would talk to God, but it was still something that I was dealing with. But eventually, like, I came out of it, and I'm like, man, if I'm dealing with this, imagine how many other people are dealing with this. And I don't even have pain like that every day. But at the time I was. So I'm like, I can only imagine like what other sickle cell patients are going through. And so that's when I realized maybe psychiatry is what I probably should be going into, because yeah, mental health is real. Like, it starts with our mental health. And so if we're not there mentally, like, you really can't do anything else. So
Oh,
So that's,
thank you. So I'm gonna do this one just a little bit different because I know on my end I have a couple of people watching. Does anyone have any questions, maybe for Medjie while she's here? Do something different where did anybody maybe want to come on as an added speaker or just give their own experience or maybe just give her some encouragement just in to help her just to go to what they're going through. Not saying anybody has to do it, but I'm just going to do this one just a little bit different because having that support, whether it's for something as chronic as sickle cell anemia or just having that mental support of just knowing that someone is there and actually listening, I'm more than happy to bring you on if you would like to join. So, and I think from your end too, if you have anybody that would like to join, if they send you the request, you should be able to add them to the conversation as well.
okay.
So I don't know if your husband want to jump on and just
I was gonna ask him to join on.
give his just his experience just as a man, you know, helping
I can
his
go.
wife.
I can go. I can go get him.
Yeah,
I'll be right back.
go ahead. So again, like I was saying, sometime next year, I do plan on coming back home to Detroit to actually put a sickle cell awareness event together, just so we could continue to bring awareness to it. Don't know if anyone got a chance to view or listen to the last episode via here, Facebook, or even just on Anchor or Apple or Amazon or Google, wherever I'm streaming the podcast to. But donating blood actually does help more than what you know. The last episode when I had Clifton and Lars Charday on the episode, they did debunk some stereotypes about just donating to Red Cross. Just when it comes to donating blood, it is very imperative that we do donate blood just because it is people like us dealing with this disease. And if they don't even have the blood to be able to give them the transfusion, we're actually hindering someone's healing process. Sorry, I just was talking while you
Okay.
I went to go grab to see if he just wanted to just have a moment to speak. I probably won't be holding you much longer because, like I said, I'm so appreciative and grateful for you just to be able to sit down and do this live episode with me of my podcast. Just take a moment to give myself some flowers. It is National Podcast Day. I see a difference in myself from the very first episode into this episode, and I am thankful to all of my guests who just anyone who has been listening or anything, to allow me to be able to bring these episodes here. So David Harris says, what advice does she have for a young person with sickle cell who thinks they can't do the same things as other people, such as school?
That's my husband.
Oh, David, we about to bring you out here, huh? Come on.
He says he doesn't want to get on.
Okay.
Tell me something. This is your spotlight.
This is medical school, law school, or a demanding career.
Yeah. Okay. I can speak to that. So like for me, I've always wanted to be a doctor since I was maybe about like 5 years old. It's just something it's just always been in me, but having sickle cell kind of like made that a little bit harder than the normal person's journey of becoming a doctor. And so I would tell somebody that if it's their dream and it's what they really want to do, then to not give up, because the moment that you give up is when you don't achieve that goal. And so yes, I'm 36 years old and I'm just now getting into medical school. That's because I didn't give up. Like I could have given up a long time ago and could have probably done something that was maybe like less demanding, pick a career that's not as demanding, but always wanted to be a doctor. And so I kept going. I just didn't give up. And so like I would tell that person just to keep going, whether it looks, bad, or you're gonna have days where you're gonna be sick. I had 3 exams this week: Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Monday, I had a crisis. I was on oxygen. I could not breathe. I was like, I got to take this exam at 11 o'clock. I don't know how I'm gonna make it, you know. But I had to take my exam. It's part of being in school. And so I took my exams this week, not feeling well, and I was still able to pass. Now, did I get a 95% or 100%? No, a pass is a pass. you know. So right, exactly. So I just say all that to say it's like there are gonna be days when it's hard. There are gonna be days when you want to feel like giving up, but just don't do it. Just don't give up, and you can get there.
Well, you inspire me more than I probably will ever be able to show you. I just know that I watched you do undergrad. You probably watched me do undergrad. And I know that we don't have the friendship that we have to where we talk every day. But
Yeah.
I am so proud of you. Just because I do know for a long time that you have had sickle cell. And I remember nights at the UGL? Is that what the undergrad library at Wayne State? Those winter nights watching you have the episode, but sorry, I'm stop calling it an episode because it's called a crisis, correct?
Yeah.
Watching you have a crisis. I remember being in my relationship ready to give up, and it was just an encouragement to say, no, hang in there just a little bit longer because the pain is real. And it's a pain that I might not ever experience, but
yeah.
I would never take anything from you. And I'm happy to see you not only as a young Black woman living out your dreams in spite of whatever pain that you may be in, but it's also inspiration to know that you can be a lover, that you can be a friend, and that you can be a mother, and soon to be a doctor. And I'm here for all of that. And so I'm so proud of you. If there's anything that I can do, please let me know. I mean, I know that I'm a couple of thousand miles away, but I'm also only a plane ride away. And anybody that know me that know that what I love, I will come for. So, I mean, even if you need to send the kids here for summer, it's a little hot here, but they'll get over it. They'll get over it. But even if you ever need to just come just to say, I need to get away or whatever it is that I may be able to do to support you, please let me know. Now, where can we find you? Like, do you have like an Instagram handle? Can they follow you on Facebook? Is your inbox open, or what do they call it now? The DMs?
It goes down in the DMs.
Now, she a married woman. They can't do nothing go down unless you got some questions about this sickle cell, or she says she's going to be a psychiatrist. So if you got some mental things you may need some help with, she's all open for all of that. I'm a true believer in not promoting anything other than what it's supposed to be when you marry. Because people be lost their man and got in your inbox on some other stuff. So let me make it very clear. I am a fighter. If I learn anything other than y'all reaching out to her about anything that has anything other than to support her or just seek a support system for sickle cell or mental health, we're going to have an issue. I'm saying that on live for the world to hear, okay? This is my platform too, so I'm going to let y'all know that right now. I'm a true believer in that, so.
You are cracking me up.
Still crazy, y'all. She can vouch for me. Still crazy. Still the same Alina. Ain't nothing changed but the zip code.
Right. No, but I just wanted to say thanks for having me, because you didn't have to have me on your show, and just really appreciative of it that I get to bring some awareness to your platform. And I just appreciate you having me on. And I hope that your podcast goes soars, that it's going to touch on so many lives, and so many people will be able to listen to it and gain a lot of insight from it. So I appreciate you. You can find me I'm really more active on Instagram at Dr. Medjie, but Dr. Medjie, Dr. Medjie. And I'm here on Facebook, and it's my real government name. You can find me as Medjie Pascal-Harris on here. So yeah.
Such an inspiration hearing another mother go through those transfusions and sounding as though she just breezed through it. Well, Tier, I mean, you breezed through it too, though. I mean, you did. She did. I thought I personally was gonna have to come shake her myself, but the baby, he's here. He's healthy. He just turned a year, maybe like a month, not even, it's been a month. He's a whole 1-year-old. So it's always encouraging me. Huh?
She has sickle cell too?
Well, she's here. I don't know if she wants to come on. My godson may be over there acting crazy, but I don't know if she want to come on, but she can join. If she want to join, she can. I'm all for the Black female movement. I ain't gonna call it, even though we did start the feminist movement, but I got so many episodes in me about this thing here is just being Black and being in America, or just being Black and living in this world, So yeah. She and she said congratulations on your journey.
Thank you.
It's just, so the baby probably over there wilding out. My godson, he a little screamer, but he mine, and I love him. I'm still beside him.
Yeah.
And then, do you have any support groups that you would recommend for people that are in the local Detroit area, like that maybe you attend, or?
There is a group that I am a member of. It's called Sickle Strong, but I'm not sure how people can join. It's on GroupMe. I don't know how, but if you DM me and reach out, I could probably add you on there.
And then, are there any charities that you follow closely that you would like anybody to donate to, as far as furthering the research for sickle cell awareness?
Yeah, so if you want to donate, the best way to do that is to donate money to the Sickle Cell Disease Association of the Detroit, Michigan chapter. So they're doing big things. They're trying to do a lot of big things out here for the community, and they would really appreciate every dollar. You could find them on the website is SCDAA Michigan.org, I believe. Let me look it up.
Well, I'll make sure that I'll get it when I officially produce the video to my YouTube page. I'll make sure that all of that is so we can work on getting that loaded onto my YouTube page. And for those of you who don't know, yes, I do have a YouTube page. It's called That's It, That's All Podcast with Alina. So it is exactly everything is the same. I have an Instagram page that follows the podcast. If you're just watching this and you want to be just on an episode, just not to take from Medjie's episode right quick, but I have been working very closely with my best friend, Crystal, who is going to become an executive producer of a couple of episodes that's going to come out here soon. So I'm open to that as well. I'm big on my community. I'm big on getting the words out. My other best friend, April, she has sent through some episode ideas, and I'm going to work very closely with her as well to make sure that I get those episodes produced. If I ever win a Peabody for any of these episodes or get any money, Medjie, you will be getting a check. Because like I said, I'm a true believer in supporting this. My cousin Tierra, she's been a supporter. Actually, this is the reason how the podcast came about, because just me and her having late night conversations. I'm like, you know, some of the stuff we be talking about, it be deep. And I feel like the word needs to get out there about some of the conversations we just would have as women, just things we go through in our relationships, just things we go through. It's things she went through in her pregnancy that she can attest to as just a woman. And a lot of women may go through that and they'll be like, you know what I'm saying? So for her, I know this episode is probably a lot, because how many other women do you have that can be like, well, yeah, I was pregnant and I had a form of sickle cell trait, or I'm actually sickle cell anemia, but I sit here today proud as a mother to say, not only am I a mother, but I'm a wife and I'm in medical school and I'm doing my thing in spite of the pain that I'm in. Now, I know y'all see me on this live, so I don't know who keep calling my phone and being real disrespectful, but you about to get blocked. So I suggest you stop calling this phone, okay? I don't know why people do this. But Medjie, she did go ahead and drop the website and the chat here. We will definitely get that added. Let me see real quick if it's gonna let Tierra jump on, because I know she was having some issues. I know she went out and came back in. Let's see if they let me add her. I thank you so much for just having the courage to continue to be vulnerable in this particular atmosphere.
Because I'm really a private person. I only share what I want people to see. I think we all do that, but I told myself, you know, I'm gonna devote more time to really show people what sickle cell disease really is. And so, like, I've been more, you know, vocal about it. I put it on my Instagram page and stuff. So yeah, I feel like it's really needed.
You know, and I'm very much proud of you. If it doesn't let me add her quickly, I'll probably just come back on and do a different live with her. You're more than welcome to jump back on with us if you just want to do like a after show. But I do want to take into acknowledgement that it has been just a little over an hour. And I know when we started this episode that you did say you was in pain. It is possible that you may be ending this episode and definitely going to go take care of yourself, because you do deserve that much. It's not giving me the option to accept. Maybe go out and come back in. I don't know, T. Normally it lets you jump right on in here. I don't know what's going on. But again, it could be the platform of what we're talking about and the issue of what we're talking about. Again, I'm going to end this episode until Tierra can get on. Please donate blood. Please take all of the stereotypes and the stigmas out of what we have been conditioned to think of when it comes to our people. Donating blood is just not only significant for people who have sickle cell, but there are other ailments, and I hope that I'm saying that word correctly, that just affect us as African American people. Another thing that I will encourage people to do is, just because you have a mother that is sitting here, and Medjie, if I'm getting you ready to say anything incorrectly, again, jump in and stop me, because I want to make sure what I'm giving is correctly. You have mothers, Black mothers across this world, who want to be able to breastfeed their children. They want to be able to give their children that nutrition that solely can come from a mother. What I will encourage women to do here today is donate to some of these breast banks. And a lot of people don't know that there are breast milk or milk banks that people can donate to. But it is imperative that we not only start donating blood, but if you are a mother that is able to produce milk and produce enough of it, please start donating to these banks, because you're saving more than just one life by donating the blood and the milk. but I'll do an episode on that later about just the
Yeah.
importance of just being able to help, because we have to start knocking down some of these stigmas and stereotypes when it comes to the health of our people. And I think that starting on it with the medical factor, we can start to also break down generational trauma as well. And so with that being said, that is it, and that is all. Again, thank you so much, Medjie, for bearing through this episode with me in spite of your pain. I still can't get my cousin on here right quick, but nonetheless, I'm in it. Maybe when I come back, if you still haven't gone or if you just even feel up to it, come back and join us. I'm going to do a real quick after show. Anybody that would like to join, jump on, go ahead. But again, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really appreciate being here. I enjoyed talking to you.
I'm so proud of you. um, and I'm going to keep you in my prayers. I'm going to keep you in my light, and I'm going to keep you in my love, and I'm going to always keep you in my good graces, because you are truly someone who is worthy of just that. Thank you so much, David, for jumping in there with those questions. Thank you for being an encouragement. Thank you for being a husband. Thank you for being a father. Thank you for being a confidant. Thank you for being a provider to my good friend here. It is much appreciated, more than what you know. I know we probably haven't had a chance to officially meet, but I promise you I'm just as crazy in real life, not just on this live. But
yeah, he's a great
again,
husband.
that is it, and that is all. And everyone have a blessed and safe night. Bye.
Bye.